So here we go then. 5 seconds. Race 2.
Mark rounding coming up. It looks like the Danes and then Alberto Carrero. There's battling with him. KGR is coming in. KGR Sushi Gin Tonic. It's the German.
It has it. They are off. There's a couple of early starts and a couple of penalties. One for the Dutch already.
On the inside, he can penalize Rosenlag, and he knows it.
He's forcing the Spaniard out over to the right-hand side. You're going to see him maneuver now. He's going to jibe in, and it's a penalty to Lucas Moore.
How did that happen? I want to see that in replay afterwards. Hello and welcome to this evening's Nations Cup. And I have to start in another language. Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Herzlich willkommen zum diesen fantastischen Nations Cup. Und ich möchte sagen, dass wir haben zwei fantastischen Teams heute. Und das ist ein sehr schönes Regatta. Das ist dem Schweiz gegen Deutschland. But I'm not going to do all this all by myself, so please welcome in studio Mr. Alec Wilkinson.
Hello everyone, welcome to the commentary box. Yes, it's Switzerland against Germany. It's the third regatta of this first round of the Nations Cup. And well, the previous two that we brought to you live have been fascinating, exciting, and last night's went right down to the wire. So what do they hold in store tonight? The next hour and a half, we'll find out.
And Alec, we have a lot of new viewers coming in today because a lot of Germans, a lot of guys, girls and skippers around the world from Switzerland especially will watch tonight also. So let's just have a small update on the format before we're jumping into things.
So this is how the bigger picture works. This is the competition. We've already had the first two regattas. As I said, Denmark against Poland. Denmark went through. And then last night was Ireland against Sweden, the regatta that went right down to the wire. So Denmark and Sweden will meet in the quarterfinals. Over on the right-hand side of your screen, you see Switzerland v Germany. 7th against 10th seed. That's tonight's regatta.
And Alec, this regatta has a very special format. It's actually inspired from Davis Cup, so that people knows. But let's just call it the Nations Cup format because it's tested, it's proved, it's a fantastic cup. They're doing 9 races in different boat types. We'll come more into it afterwards. But Alec, the players are getting ready. But before we're getting ready, you spoke with one of the team captains earlier today.
Yep, I caught up with the Swiss captain, so let's hear from her right now. Melanie Maradan, welcome to the show. First of all, let's get this out in the open. Let's explain to everyone, why is it that Thomas has called you the Black Widow, a nickname that has now stuck within the e-sailing world?
This is because I was participating in the Swiss Championship, and on the NACRA, I luffed up and I put a penalty to 2 men at the same time, in just one move, and everyone was impressed.
Wow, you took out 2 men in one go with one move. Really impressive. Okay, well, we'll see how you get on tonight. As the Swiss captain, how, what are your hopes? Are you going to think, what score would please you? Obviously, you want to win, but do you think it's going to be straightforward, or do you think it's going to be a fight to the end?
I think it's going to be a fight, but I also think we beat Germany on Saturday, so I think we're definitely the favorites, and the team spirit is high. The players have been training every single night this week, and they watched the race on Monday and Tuesday, and they'll learn new tricks that they will apply tonight. I think they're ready. They'll do their best, and they want to win. So Germany should beware.
I'm always intrigued by sort of Swiss national teams, because you're a French speaker, but there are German speakers, obviously Italian speakers in Switzerland. How do you all communicate?
Some of them speak 2 languages. I speak 2 languages. Some of them speak just 1 language. I think we have no one from the Italian part of Switzerland, so at least we only have 2 languages. So our conversations are a mix of French, German, and sometimes English, but mainly French and German, and we're just mixing and translating if someone doesn't understand. And people just make the effort to speak someone else's language.
Which do you think will be your strongest boat?
Oh, that's a good question. Definitely not the Star, neither the F50, because we didn't train a lot on it during the national championship.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's see. I have no idea.
We'll see how it goes. And you're a sailor. You've sailed dinghies as a kid, but now you've moved on to bigger boats in Geneva.
Yeah, I sailed dinghies like Optimist and Laser my entire youth on Lake Neuchâtel in Switzerland. And I stopped sailing for many years, and I started again 2-3 years ago. And now I sail also keelboats. I was a crew on a toucan this year. Toucan is like the bird. It's a keelboat typical for Lake Geneva.
Fantastic. What a wonderful setting to be sailing in. Well, best of luck for you, Melanie. Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
So we've heard from the captain, Melanie Maradan of Switzerland. How will they get on? We'll see Melanie in action right now, because all 20 sailors are in action in race 1. So race 1 and race 9, the first and final race of the regatta, we see all competitors in it together. And the first and last race tend to be fast and furious. It's in the 49er. And as you can see, we've got the Germans and the Swiss lining up now with about 35 seconds to go. Looking at the radar, it seems fairly even right across the course. The format for the race, for most of these races, is the standard upwind, downwind, upwind, downwind. So 4 legs, 2 upwind and 2 downwind. 20 seconds to go, Thomas.
And Alec, this is the 49er. It's one, normally it's a team race today. Normally it's 1 upwind and lost downwind, but we have seen some quite action with the players in the 2 first rounds of the Nations Cup. But see here, the start is going clean start, some few penalties to both sides, both groups, both the Swiss and the Germans. But see here, high tech from Germany in the lead. Christina Schubert, the other female player from Germany, top sailor, and she's really a top sailor in 5th at the moment. But it's all about points, Alec. It's all about getting as less points as possible in this first race to win a point.
Yeah, so in these early stages, we just keep an eye on that radar in the left corner just to see, and indeed in this sort of chopper shot from above, just to see where they want to go. And at the moment, most of the fleet are sticking to the middle of the course as they head upwind.
Yeah, and that's a logical why they're there, because that's where the wind pressure is. Watching the radar up there, you can also see it slightly here in this picture. It's dark in the middle area, but the wind is shifting. It's now coming from the left-hand side. So Roxioni, top German sailor, young guy. He's originally from Überlingen, Bodensee, close to Switzerland. He's now in Berlin for work. He's in the lead, and he's in a very good position to take the lead.
Yeah, we've seen this left-hand side pay over the last couple of regattas, but obviously we don't know what the conditions have in store for us today. But Roxy Joni out on this left-hand side then, and we're going to see them all converge. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of traffic and possibly a lot of penalties as well if the previous two regattas are anything to go by. Yeah, and we're watching them come in. Here's Roxy Joni. It's going to come in on the inside,
but he's under pressure.
This boat just takes the lead. Yin Yang of Switzerland was there earlier. Moonflower already picks up a penalty. And so far, they've all got round relatively cleanly, considering how many boats we've got on the course right now.
Yeah, but it's you can see the flags, Alec. See, the German flags are dominating the top of the fleet, where the Swiss flags are dominating the middle and the end of the fleet. So the Swiss needs to do something to come back in the race. Right now, it is the golden flag of Germany. They chose golden flags because they want to go all the way. So they have to live up to it when they have a golden flag in the game.
Yep, so the way this works is that we will add up all the positions for each player of the team. We add them up, and then it's the team with the lowest number. After we've added up their positions, the team with the lowest number that gets the victory, and then they will get 1 point in the overall regatta score. They're already downwind. Such a fast boat, the 49er. But although it's spectacular downwind, it's the upwind legs that make the difference in this E49er. That's where you get to gain. If you get it right, you can gain 20, 30 meters on your opponent upwind. But as you've said, Thomas, the Germans at the moment have the advantage. They've got more players in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, but right now, Flying Palomino, he needs to help out his team. Remember, it's a team race. He needs to slow the other team's players down, or the other team down, or penalize, do something so his teammates can come back and help with that fight. Yusu here, Stripes. Stripes, he's the former champion of Switzerland 2019. Ludovic, part of the Swiss Championship this year also. Actually, the whole Swiss team is almost champions, all the participants at the championship this year. And then we can see Susi Schiepfertzen coming in third. Then we have Knut in fourth, Tim Feder in sixth. But it's still a Swiss in the lead, but 5 spots for Germany. And then we have a huge gap down to Johannes Barnsen, the former German champion, La Cuvia, the German champion itself. They are actually way behind.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Yin Yang winning is probably less important than maybe Yin Yang trying to battle with Roxy Joni and Susie and Christina to try and slow them down and slow the whole race down to give the rest of the Swiss team time to catch up.
Yeah, and I have to say, Yin Yang needs to take that 1 point, but it's Flying Palomino who needs to do something. Here we see Ludovic with a penalty, and that was actually inflicted by one of his own people, one of the Swiss, so friendly fire coming in. But right now, it's quite interesting just watching 4 Germans behind, middle group of Swiss, and so if they can push the Germans more behind here in the back fleet, then it's coming in. But it's a victory in this race for Yin Yang, but is it a victory for Switzerland?
I don't think so. But Yin Yang will take the victory, as you say. Then in comes Roxy Joni, hugely experienced e-sailor. Susie will take second. Knut 34 will be fourth. So it's Germany 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I think that is too good. And I think the victory will go to Germany overall.
No, but good comeback by Flying Palomino, winning internal battle. Also Stripes coming in. Esperanza with a penalty. This is changing. Moonflower, maybe the oldest in this race, Alec, coming in N8. And see right now the Swiss, they're actually battling it out, but they have 4 people behind. Kouabi, the Swiss champion, with a penalty behind. That might losing it for them. Secret sailing off Kiel coming in as the last German. So let's just see it. Yin Yang with a victory, Roxy Yoni second, Susie third, Knut fourth, and then flying Palomino fifth. But a straight look down there. It's quite close, but we will get the result soon from our race officers behind the scene. Yeah. But let's see, where was it won and where was it lost? Yin Yang, fantastic upwind leg. Didn't have the best start, but had the best first upwind leg. Kept the lead all the way. Roxy only kept his second all the way. But then we have Susie Sheepfatsen. And I have to say, that's actually normally Peter Hermann from the Baltic Sea at Rostock. He's an offshore racer normally. He's actually battling his good way. He didn't have the best start. See, he actually started in 13, but ending up third. So quite interesting what's going in to that race. And we have some confirmation, Alec.
Yeah, we have confirmation. Germany won the race, so it is now Switzerland 0, Germany 1. And it was quite a victory in the end when you look at the numbers. Germany 89, Switzerland 121. So Germany are ahead.
So a good lead to Germany, winning the first round. But this first round, it's quite hard because what is the tactics of it? Because it's going so fast and the boat sneaking away. So how to do it? I haven't gotten the golden buzzer yet for it. What to do in the 10VT.
Now, I don't know what strategy that they've got going into the big fleet races, you know, race number 1 and race number 9. But they've got their own chat rooms. They're constantly in discussions and they're discussing things. So they might have a plan A, they might have a plan B and a plan C, or they might just say, hey, this is the first race, just go out, do your best and see how things work out.
Yeah. And Alec, when we're saying race numbers, now let's just jump into race number 2. Earlier today, we actually spoke with one of the German sailors, Dirk Dinchen, or La Couffier, as it's called. But I can see that the next fantastic race coming up, and that's maybe one of the strongest races we will see in that class. That's female versus female in a match race. And it's Melanie versus Christina Schubert. She's racing Bundesliga normally in the German league. So let's get some action for the ladies.
Here we go then. It's race number 2 of the regatta. It's Christina of Germany against the Swiss captain, Melanie. And it's in the star class. So we go from the fast, furious race of the 49er with 20 boats to a much more slower paced race, but it's really interesting to watch. It's obviously a match race, 1-on-1, and already the battle has begun in the pre-start with Christina trying to take advantage. She's in a good position and she's trying to force Melanie away from the committee boat, away from the start line. But it's still 20 seconds to go. Melanie's trying to hook her, trying to get advantage over the German, but Christina holds the right of way right now.
Yeah.
And they're now beginning to crank up the sails and fill them with wind and power away across the start line. Just one more maneuver from Melanie, who was almost a little bit too early. And she goes to the right. Christina goes to the left. And I actually think that Melanie might have gone the right way, because it looks to me like that's where the stronger breeze might be.
The stronger breeze are in Christina's side, and while she was Melanie's side, and while she was tacking up towards the top mark, she also got the wind into the side. The wind is coming from right hand side at the moment. So Christina, when she tacks up towards the mark, she's getting the wind against her. But this is an interesting tactic they're doing right now, because in all the other races we saw, the match race we have seen in all the other Nations Cup, the players has been following each other. Here they're splitting up trying to prevent to do a mistake, trying to prevent to get a penalty. So at this race, it's going to be in the downwind action.
Well, both of these women are experienced sailors. We heard from Melanie at the start of the show about her sailing keelboats on Lake Geneva. Well, Melanie is based in Hamburg now and sails intensively. She's done really well at Kiel Week over the years, done really well in the European Championships. So a real fan of the Hobie class is Melanie.
No, that's
right
Christina
now,
you're talking about. But Melanie is in the lead,
Christina.
Christina,
but right now, Christina has it all to do to try and catch Melanie, who is heading off downwind. But we have seen many times in the star class that this downwind leg is where the chasing boat can chase and overtake the leader.
Yeah, and what we are seeing here is actually Christina has the favored position because she's throwing dirty air now on Melanie. Melanie is going to be slowed down. So Melanie, what she's trying to do is to sail as far as she can to the left-hand side of our view here to avoid to get wind shadow. And see, there's a huge speed difference. And what will happen is the closer Christina comes to Melanie, the faster she goes, and she can almost get 1 to 2 knots faster than Melanie. So she's getting very close to her now, 40 meters, and it's only counting down. See how fast it's going now, 2 meters at a time. But way well played by Melanie by going all the way out to the left-hand side. She has been practiced a lot with actually a non-sailor, I think, Arnold from Switzerland also, because this is one of his favorite races. That is mano mano and downwind action.
Yeah, the beauty of the format is that they're having to race in different boats and different formats, different styles, and the beauty for the captain and the difficulty in many ways for the captain of the team is to try and decide which sailor races in which boat. And we know the Swiss don't have much experience in the F50. So it'd be interesting to see who they've named for that race. But it's all about trying to get as much practice beforehand as possible in the boat that you've been assigned for the regatta.
Yeah, and again here we see Christina go far outside of the ley line. The reason for that is not to sail the short distance, it's because then she can change the angle of the starboat towards the top mark and get more speed into the sails. She might do it here now, get a little bit seat. Now she's doing it 5.7, 5.8, so a little bit slow, but still good race by her. And now we have a long downwind action. So Christina needs to speed up that boat. I think she will just be in the position to attack Melanie. And there we go. The wind shadow is perfect timed. So now it's all about how good Christina is to attack Melanie and how good Melanie is to defend her position. 7.6, 8.4. Now we see the speed difference. It's going to be on the finish line, Alec, this one.
And you can see the finish line right in front of them. Which one can hold her nerve the best? Can Melanie just stay calm, not make any mistakes, just get it across the line? Or can Christina catch her before they get there? I think Christina's running out of racetrack. And I think this is going to go to Melanie. And this is going to square up the regatta.
No, Alec, it's on the finish line.
She's closing the gap, but she doesn't have right away. She's trying the hook.
Boy, Christina got the penalty.
Penalty on Christina. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because Melanie crosses the line first and gets the victory for Switzerland. It's now Switzerland 1, Germany 1.
Yeah, and again, Alec, what a race, what a finish they just had here. I have to say, Christina almost timed it perfectly to win it on the finish line. Let's go in and hear more from Germany before going into race number 3.
Yeah, I'm from Germany, obviously, and I live right in the middle of Germany. I'm 47 years old. I do e-sailing since 1 year. Start sailing when I was 14. Do regatta, more cruise racing, then get into regatta, but didn't sail a regatta in the last 15 years. So e-sailing is great to get into this regatta racing again, even if it's just virtual.
You are coming into the Nations Cup as a German champion. How is it to race in the Nations Cup different from racing the German Championship?
So first of all, it's all about the team. So I feel proud to be in the German national team and sailing with all the other great sailors who are mostly, unlike me, actual great regatta sailors in the real world.
Dirk, tonight you're going to race against Switzerland. And the football team just met Switzerland and it was 3-3. But tonight in the format we have, there will only be one winner. So how will the German team approach tonight's game?
So actually we take it very serious. So we performed not well in the seeding round, and so we were a bit shocked actually how bad some of us, especially me, performed in the seeding round. So we trained a lot over the last days. So we met every evening to train as a team to perform better than last Saturday.
I'm actually amazed how much you guys are practicing and training. I have followed all the nations, and the German team has been one of the most active teams in the servers. So what is the difference from a fleet race and a team race like we're having the Nations Cup for you, do you think?
So one difference is, of course, that you don't just race for your own. You have to look where your teammates are. Don't give penalties to your teammates, but also don't cover them with wind shadow. But maybe you spot something where you can help your teammate to cover somebody who's attacking them or something like this. And so this makes it more complicated, but also more fun, actually.
All the best of luck. And Alec, we're getting ready for race number 3, but what a fantastic interview with Dirk and also with Melanie.
Yeah, I mean, what becomes clear in those interviews is that just how motivated the sailors on both sides are. And it's not just Germany and Switzerland. We saw that motivation and heard about that motivation in the previous round 1 regattas as well. But they are really, trying to, every minute of the day that they've got spare, they're on the water and they're practicing. And it's just interesting to see how many of them are actually quite nervous going into these games. I'm sure that'll ease up as the regatta goes on and they get to compete in more action. But hugely motivated. They really want to do well. And I think the Germans were disappointed in their seeding of 10th over the weekend. So this is their chance to come back from that.
Yeah, and Alec, here we see some different tactics. 2 Germans are trying to sneak away with it going to have what we call a downwind start. They will come with speed and then they will get a penalty and going upwind.
But this is the laser. It's 5 against 5 in this match, and Roxy Joni getting away in the middle of the fleet there. And chair 66, Tim Fader of Germany, Roxy Joni, all getting away, and a pretty good start for most of the fleet. So it's 5 Swiss against 5 Germans, and we're in the laser this time.
Yeah, and see this critical move here, Alec. See, it's like the boat is jumping. They're actually pumping the boat because they can do it. So they're bearing away, pressing best VMG to get more speed into the boat upwind. They want to sneak away, but T66 is following Roxy Joni and actually covering him. But Tim Fender is ready to cover T66. So right now there's a battle in the lead. Then we have a player here we haven't spoken much about. Actually a non-sailor, and he's the only one in this race that is actually a non-sailor. That's Arnold from Switzerland, but he has been in e-sailing the last 3 years, and he is actually a big part of the top community on the online servers, so he knows what he's doing. He's also been coaching and practicing a lot with the team. But see here, Alec, the German champion.
Yeah, I just want to go back to that the pumping motion, because in real sailing there are times you can pump and times you can't pump, and it depends which class you're sailing. But there aren't such rules in e-sailing. And how does it work then? They bear away, but how does the VMG then? They hit the VMG button in order to accelerate away. You've got about 10 seconds to explain it before they hit this top mark.
Yeah. The best VMG button is the best possible angle towards the top mark with the best possible speed. So that's helping you to hit maximum speed, and you can see maximum speed, no matter which way you're sailing, is 4.0. Every time they pump the boat, they get up to 5.0 because they're going away from the wind, getting the wind into the sail, speeding them up to 5.0, and then they slow down again to 4.0. But that one is giving them a lot of speed. But see, a Swiss dominating domination here.
I was about to say, this is a reverse almost of the first race, with a German in front now, and then second, third, fourth, all Swiss. So maybe they've learnt from their mistakes in the first race. So Switzerland in a good position, but hey, it's early days. We've got 3 more legs, and the Germans are coming back from the rear of the fleet.
Yeah, and it looks really like the Swiss has been practicing this tactic, because see how tactical move they are. G66 is going to attack Johannes Barnsen and make sure Roxioni can't get up and attack Kouabi. Kouabi is slowing down. Then they have 2 players, Yin Yang, actually a non-sailor, battling Tim Fetter and making sure that the German champion is going away. See, now they're slowing down, Alec. See, they're doing a wind block up here. So they're slowing down to see if they could capture La Couvière in a penalty, and then La Couvière got panicked and hit the mark. So it actually worked.
Yeah. It's brutal. It's aggressive. Sometimes it's not fair, but that's what makes this team sport, this team competition in e-sailing so exciting. And now we've got a Swiss first and second, and the Germans have dropped back down through the fleet.
Yeah, and it's actually looking great for the Swiss, but it's still a close one. G66 we have here in the picture, Kuehne. He needs to win that battle against Roxioni to get up. And I know the players are doing a lot of math, Alec, because again, it's all about get as less points as possible in this race. Oh, penalty to G66, just when we spoke about him. But Moonflower, the most, I have to say, the oldest player in this race, 68 years old. He's really, really doing a great job there.
Yeah, and a really wide range of ages in e-sailing. We've got 14-year-olds competing against 70-somethings. So Moonflower, one of the oldest in this regatta, but by no means the oldest competing at all. We had someone well into their 70s competing a couple of nights ago, which is great to see. Men, women of all ages competing against each other in this e-sailing. Quappy picking up a penalty against Johannes of Germany, and that was a silly move from the Swiss.
But Alec, that was a very important penalty, because if Swiss are getting first, second, third, or first, second, and fourth, they won this race. So that penalty to Kouabi came on time, well placed by Johannes. That's giving the Germans a chance to come back in the race. No, Kouabi hitting the mark again.
Yeah, that has completely thrown Quappy off his routine, his rhythm, because he was all over the place coming into that mark.
Yeah. So now the battle is not for getting first, second, and third. Or fourth. Now the battle is to win these 2, Roxioni and Susie Schipfertsen, to get up to the next position. These 3 boats, Moonflower, G66, Kouabi, needs to keep their positions, or else the Germans are winning. So let's see the battle here.
So Che66 and Quappy have to move up, but certainly if Che66 can move into 5th, then I think the Swiss will get the win.
Yeah. Roxioni just penalized Kouabi. Kouabi dropping down. Now it's time. It's Susie attacking Moonflower. No, she missing Roxioni. He knew he needs to penalize him to keep the lead. And now they're penalizing Susie, so Susie getting lost. This is a very close call, Alec.
It's a very close call. and I'm not sure the Swiss have managed it. I think that might be a German victory, but we'll wait until the official race officer gives us that result. But an extraordinary battle at the end, and that's what's great about this team sport, isn't it? This team format is that sometimes we get carried away with who's at the front, but it's just as interesting at the back.
It is. And here we can say, if the Swiss are losing, it's actually the battle for Kouapi. He was in fourth. Then he got a penalty at the mark by Johannes Barnsen, dropping down. Then he hit the mark, dropping down. And Alec, did you see the score coming in there?
So I have. How close is that?
Will you tell me?
You do this one. You do this one, Thomas.
Okay. Switzerland winning with 28 to 27. So Switzerland is getting the point. They are having 1 point less than the German team. So that penalty to Susi on the finish line did the thing. If they hadn't penalized Susi, then Germany had won this race.
I tell you who is the most relieved person, I think, and that is Switzerland's Kouapi, because things were going okay, things were going quite well for Switzerland until that penalty at the end of the second upwind leg, and then he lost it, really, didn't he?
He really lost it, Alec. And when we are taking lost it. A lot of new viewers coming in. We can see that on the numbers. So let's just go in and explain the format. Welcome to the Nations Cup. This is Switzerland versus Germany. And yesterday it was 3-3 in the football match. And right now it's 2-2 in this fantastic regatta. But let's go in and talk a little bit about the format, what they're going to race in the next couple of races.
So we've already had the first 3 races in the 49 of the Star and the Laser. Right, the super fast boat now, the foiling F50 comes in. 3 against 3 in that. Then we have 2 certified sailors from each side take each other on in the J70. That's one of 2 J70 races. Then we have another match race in the Star class. And then, as you can see, the 3 more races, J70, F50, and then the free-for-all at the end, race number 9, which last night was the deciding race between Ireland and Sweden. Yeah. Will it be this time, or will one of the teams have already won the regatta by that point? Whatever happens, we will have 9 races. We will bring them to you live.
And race number 4 coming up, 3 versus 3 in the EF50, the Sail GP boat, this fantastic foil boat. In this race, we had so much wind that we might hit 50 knots downwind, Alec. But it's all about start and mark roundings. We have seen it before, but it's a team race. How will they help each other?
Let's see how it pans out. 20 seconds to go. Remember, Switzerland 2, Germany 1 in this best of 9 regatta. And right now, it looks like they're trying to hold off the German on this left-hand side. They're picking up speeds. It's a standard way of starting in the EF50. They pick up as much speed as possible for this reaching start. And off they go towards the first mark. And I thought Chair had the advantage and was going to cross first. But no, the Germans, all 3 of them, are going to round the mark in the lead.
Yeah, he made a mistake there. A penalty's coming into the... No! Flying Palomino got it, so the Germans sneaking away. But the reason why he didn't got the good start, he was too close to the finish line. He was afraid of doing a false start, so he didn't take the chance and slow down his boat. But 2 skippers, Melanie coming in. Oh, the Black Widow kills the high. So the shark is dead. High Tech is killed by the Black Widow. Way to go. Way to go.
Chair 66. Doing his best to get back into it. If you're new to this, and it's possible that you are, because the EF50 came on the scene for the first time in the spring for the Sail GP season, and we had great fun covering that live. on this channel. But right now, Secret Sailing is out in front, and the battle is with Chair 66, according to the leaderboard. So let me just explain these boundaries. Because these boats are so fast and every maneuver loses them time, there is the potential for them to go off off wide and a penalty on High Tech. And let's just follow this racing because it's really getting interesting.
Yeah.
But basically, they've got to stay in the boundary or they pick up a penalty.
Yeah. I just have to say, High Tech got a penalty by Flying Palomino. So right now, they pushed High Tech away. And G66, he needs somehow to penalize Christina Schubert of Germany. He needs to find a way to kill her. Sorry to say it that way, because this is a team battle. It's all about penalize them and slowing them down. And a slowdown for Christina will really do the trick. Melanie coming in, 2 boats ready to battling her. She's in trouble, Christina. See there, she got the penalty. So, but Melanie took a chance slowing down, but putting the 2 Swiss in the lead, switching all around positions. Secret Sailing sneaks away, but Melanie, Chi, and Flying Palomino is getting back in the race. High Tech lost, Christina dropping down.
Great performance from Secret Sailing, the 22-year-old from Kiel in Germany. And right now, out in front, but being hunted down by Chair 66. But over 150 meters to close on Secret Sailing is a lot of distance in the F50. Yeah. Unless, of course, Secret Sailing makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Every maneuver, as I've said, and every mistake costs you dear because your opponents are all traveling so fast in this boat.
But Secret Sailing needs to go back in the team race now. If he's not helping his team, that victory means nothing. Flying Palomino took a chance, losing a little bit connection. Christina coming back in. This is the females' game. Wow, way to go by Christina in 4th. Winning 1 position, but right now 10 points for Switzerland, 11 points for Germany. So Swiss is winning this one, but Secret Sailing, yeah, he's just sailing away. And a victory is not helping him in this case, so he needs to do something. But Christina battling Flying Palomino, he has the best hand here, because when he tacks up towards the top mark, Christina will be penalized if she's not watching him doing it.
Plenty of time for Secret Sailing to slow down and change tactics, though. Christina crossing Flying Palomino there, coming really close, but coming all the way out to the boundary. And I just wanted to watch her come round the corner of that boundary, but I don't think she can. Here we go, Christina. So yeah, just clipping the boundary, which you can do on that corner. It's an interesting little kind of glitch in the boundary of the game. So she's taking full advantage. Secret Sailing, I think, is he slowing down?
No. He came to the wrong side. So if he was slowing down there, he would have got penalized by G66. Christina getting ready to attack and kills Melanie there. But she's got too far away. This is going to be very close. Christina needs to win the battle against Melanie. Mark Rounding coming in. This is side by side. Will Melanie or Christina get the 4th? Whoosh.
It's a replay of the match race in the Star. Christina against Melanie. And am I right in saying whoever gets ahead is going to win it for the team? Secret Sailing crosses the finish line on the reaching finish. Chair 66 is 2nd. Flying Palomino crosses the line in 3rd. And it's going to be Christina who takes that 4th place for Germany. In comes Melanie Maridan, the Swiss captain, and High Tech will bring up the rear.
Yeah, and I can tell to you already now, Alec, this is a point for Switzerland because there's 21 points in the race, 10 points for Switzerland and 11 points for Germany. So Germany losing again with 1 point. So 3-1 to Switzerland. But Alec, what an interesting race, because here we saw a player like Secret Sailing, Philipp Mann from Kiel, just sneaking away, have a fantastic start. The Germans had a good start, but winning a race is not always good in a team race.
But I wonder, he had 2 Swiss players behind him. If he'd slowed and tried to attack them and try to slow down the race, I'm not sure how that would have helped Melanie and Christina in the closing stages of that race. Maybe if he'd acted earlier, then there was something that he could have done and something he could have changed.
Yeah, and the battle was actually one where Flying Palomino and, I have to say, Melanie the Black Widow started it, penalized High Tech. So the spider kills the shark. That's amazing work by her. And that was disastrous for the German team, because that way High Tech came in 6, and suddenly the German team either needs to be first and third or first and second to get a victory. But they didn't succeed doing that.
No, he didn't. And again, it'd be interesting to see what tactics we have in the J70. This is 2 against 2 this time, so a smaller fleet, and we've seen this turn into a kind of a double match race. What happens this time, and we'll also find out who their players will be.
Yeah, and we'll be back just in a moment to see this fantastic race. 2 top sailors, certified players from each team, are going to battling it out. And race number 5 is coming up, Alec. And that's what you said, 2v2 in the J-boat. And it's certified players, or some of the countries don't have certified players. So so some of the best teams coming in, team players coming in.
Yeah, and we can explain, once we've got the race underway, we can explain the whole certified player thing. But a really strong pair from both teams. You know, we've got Johannes Sparsen and Roxy Yoni, hugely experienced. We'll look at their credentials once we get this race underway. But let's follow them to the start, because there's 15 seconds to go. And look, they're already beginning to shadow each other, aren't they? They've already split up into pairs. And with 5 seconds to go, the Swiss on that far side wants to go to the pin end. I think they're all wanting to go towards the left-hand side. Johannes Bunsen and Stripes, and a penalty on Stripes.
Yeah, but it actually succeeded for him. See, Johannes Bunsen slowed down and hit the mark and got a penalty. So Stripes succeeding with that tactics. But Roxy sneaks away. But again, Alec, a victory is not good. Not if your teammate is 4th.
Not if your teammate is 4th, no. And this is the race that could end with a possible draw. But let's worry about that when the time comes, if it comes. Roxy Yoni out in front at the moment. Roxy Yoni, who was 2nd in the national German championships this year. And his teammate, Johannes, was the national champion in 2019. So huge e-sailing experience on the German side.
Yeah, and both of them also sailing the Bundesliga in real life. And they were also both part of the German e-sailing Bundesliga, where, again, Roxy Joni and his team from Überlingen came 2nd. But right now, it looks like Roxy is slowing down. See there, he's slowing down his boat, getting ready to attack Stripes. See, he's going downwind. They don't care about Ludovic, because right now, it's all about getting Stripes getting last, because a tie in this race, Alec, will be... There will be a winner, because the winning team, if it's a tie, then the boat with a winner and a 4th position is losing the game. And Alec, can you actually explain us why? Because now we have got told a lot of times why.
Yeah, so a lot of people ask that in the chat. Why that rule? Well, if you think of the previous race we've just watched in the F50, we've been talking about the leader slowing down and helping the rest of his teammates. Tactically. and by attacking the opponents and trying to slow down the race and interfere and so on. Well, and that's what the team sailing is all about. So what the reason they've created this rule that if you're first and fourth, you lose if it's a draw, is basically to encourage any leading boat to think strategically and tactically of how they can help their teammates get back up the fleet towards the start. So, as you say, in this case, it's better to finish second and third than it is first and fourth.
And
right
penalty
now,
to Roxy.
Roxy Joni tries to sneak in on the inside, but picks up a penalty off Ludovic Seifert.
And that's actually giving the Swiss an advantage now. But downwind, the wind shadow of the J-boat, normally you win downwind, is 30 meters big. So there will be a double attack from the Germans on the Swiss. That's also why Stripes is going away, but Ludovic under pressure. And see what happens with the wind. It's like it just disappeared a little bit. Normally we see this boat go 12 to 15 knots downwind, but it's only getting 8. That means Johannes Barnsen and Roxy Joni, they are ready to attack. And see how beautiful they're attacking the 2 leading boats.
Yeah, it's still really close though. And it won't take much for one of the Germans to get ahead of the Swiss, just as the Swiss did at the last mark. So hot on their tail, the Germans come in right behind the Swiss. Which way are they going to go? Oh, we've got a crash there. Roxy Joni, Johannes pick up penalties. So a penalty for Switzerland and for Germany. And who's going to come out on top after all this? Yeah, well, it's Roxy Joni.
Yeah, but that's not a good position because he's in the lead, Johannes in fourth. So the Swiss just made the switch around it. Oh, Stripes not killing Roxy. And then he got a penalty, but he's slowing down. But what we just saw was Johannes Barnsen attack Ludovic Sigvard at the mark rounding. And then he hit the mark himself. So both of them slowed down. So the attack was not well done. That's why the Germans are in trouble right now. But right now, Stripes don't focus on attacking Roxy. Focus on keeping Johannes Barnsen in fourth. then the Swiss is winning.
Well, so far we've seen the lead change at every mark rounding. We've got one more leg to go. A penalty already for Roxy Joni, trying to force his way through to get to that mark first. And
another penalty. No,
yeah.
Oof.
Stripes picked up that penalty.
Yeah.
So that time Roxy Joni came off better. But Stripes trying to disrupt Roxy Joni's line around the mark.
And this is beautiful. This is battle after battles. Roxy getting a penalty. He was in the lead. Now he's in fourth. Johannes in the lead. So they just need to keep Roxy there and make sure Johannes Barnsen is winning it. So
they just need to keep Roxy there. You make it sound easy. No one has managed to keep anyone in any position yet in this race. It's been fascinating to watch. Really aggressive, good defensive sailing as well. It's had everything this race. You can see the finish line approach. Oh, Stripes takes on Roxy Joni, comes worst off, and now the Swiss are in trouble. That could be the maneuver that decides the match.
Ludovic needs to attack Roxy, but he's on the wrong side. He's on the outside, and Roxy knows that. He's going on the inside now. So Ludovic can only get a penalty by Roxy when he attacks, jibes downwind, but he's slowing it down. Stripes back in the race. They need to penalize Roxy just before the finish line.
But he's in the wrong position to do that. Roxy Joni's got the advantage, and he strikes Ludovic and gets a penalty off him, and it's going to be Germany first. And will it be Germany second? Stripes comes in with a last sprint to the finish, but it isn't. It's Roxy Joni first, Johannes in second, and then it's Switzerland in third and fourth.
Yeah, but what a race. See here, Alec, this chart, I love to watch it in races like this. See how they're switching positions all the time. And that was one of those fantastic battles in team races we just saw here, using all the rules, and what a win. But it was lost because Stripes, he took a chance on Johannes Barnsen, trying to cross in front of him instead of slowing down and go on the inside by crossing behind him. And that lost the race for them.
A really, really crucial victory for the Germans there, bringing them back into the regatta 3-2, just one race between them. And coming up next is the big match race, another match race in the star class. So the pressure is on the next two sailors to perform. Can the Swiss pull ahead, or could the Germans equal the score in the regatta?
And we're going to see two players who are battling each other out very well in the last race. Ludovic Sigvart versus Roxy Joni. They are already ready, so let's see who of them will win the mano-mano battle in the starboat.
Well, has Roxy Joni caught his breath since the last race? He had a real battle, but now he faces head-to-head, he faces Ludovic Sigvart of Switzerland.
Yeah, and this is going to be a little bit more interesting match race because the wind is slowed down a little bit, so they cannot just sail away from each other. They really need to battling it away from each other. So interesting what's going to happen. But one thing is for sure, don't get a penalty 11 seconds before start. Then you will start very wrong.
Yeah, and this is the cat and mouse sort of action that you see in match racing, where the German is trying to get the right of way over the Swiss, but the Swiss is still ahead. And
it's a big turn.
He needs speed up. But now, but the Swiss is moving. The German's going to try and accelerate away, and Roxy Joni and Ludovic head off towards that start line, and they head off on the same tack, heading upwind. It's 4 legs as usual, 2 up, 2 down.
But let's try to follow them here.
By side.
Yeah. Here in 2D view now we can see that tactics quite well, because what is going to happen is Ludovic is on right hand side. The Swiss boat is actually covering Roxy. He cannot tack up towards the top mark. Then he will be sailed down by Ludovic. So Ludovic has the advantage right now. But if Ludovic he wants to try to sneak away, he needs to tag up towards the top mark a little bit before, but I think he might pressure him outside of the ley line we're seeing here, and he will push him way out of the ley line, because this is a favorite position for him to be in. Oh, Roxy going up. Oh, taking a chance going up back behind Ludovic. Ludovic racks too slow. Well played by Roxy. So he prevented a penalty, but a little bit slow down, but in the downwind, he is in the favored position, as we saw in the J-boat, to make an aggressive stand.
This is textbook match racing so far. And Ludovic just beginning to pull away, but he's going to need to come in towards the mark, towards the right-hand side of the mark. And he's got room to do it. He's got space.
Roxy are in trouble. He's caught in wind shadow. See how slow he is. 3.3, yeah. Ludovic coming in. I think actually Roxy, that maneuvering he did there, that might cost him a lot of the race. But let's see how it go when they're going downwind. Roxy is a very experienced player. Ludovic rounding the mark. Roxy coming in now.
Yeah, 4.4 knots up to that top mark. And I'm seeing the wind beginning to pick up a bit on the extreme sides of the course.
Yeah, and see here, like 32 meters in between them. That means Roxy is capturing Ludovic in wind shadow if he has the wind shadow on him. But the wind shadow is going more to the left side. Now Ludovic goes into Roxy's wind shadow, and the mark rounding zone, the gate mark coming close to them. So Roxy is having a hard time, but he's 0.4, 0.5 knots faster than Ludovic. So he's getting closer and closer to him. That's why Ludovic tries to sneak away, but it's too late. Roxy is capturing him now. See there, Alec. We saw it yesterday and we see it again today.
Yeah, well, Ludo, as he's known to his friends, trying to control this race, trying to control Roxy Joni. And Ludo using all his experience of years sailing a laser. Swiss champion in 2008.
Roxy on the inside. Oh, he's so close of penalizing him. See how close they are, like.
Really close. Really close. Now, what's going to happen at this bottom gate?
Roxy tries to sneak away. He will. So, Roxy, trying to trick Ludovic to go to the opposite mark so he could penalize him. But Ludovic, don't go into that trap. That means both of them took the long turn around the gate mark. So now the battle has really begun. Who will win this one? But I think it will be best to be the boat coming from behind in the next downwind. So maybe Ludovic will slow himself down to come behind Roxy.
Well, we've seen that final downwind leg has almost been the decider. If the chasing boat has to be close enough to be able to pull off that tactic, to take advantage of the wind shadow and accelerate past.
Attack on Roxy again, side by side. See how close they are, but Roxy losing momentum totally. But it doesn't mean anything if he just get back in speed. Oh, Ludovic, nice maneuvering actually. Roxy loses so much that he actually loses 12 meters in total. But Roxy is still in the favored position. He's coming from behind Alec, so he will be in control when they're going downwind.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. But he won't be in front.
He won't be in front, but he will control the downwind action. As we saw before, he will get very close to Ludovic. So Ludovic, he needs to find his shield because Roxy Joni is coming with his swords, getting ready to board that ship and getting ready to see if he can snatch the win victory on the finish line. Mark rounding coming in. Let's get some top views on it so we can see again. We need to see the meters when the mark rounding has coming in. Oi, Ludovic 48 meters in front, 50 meters, 6.3, Roxy 6.7. Roxy is 0.4, 0.5. Again, it's the same thing we had in the last downwind action. So Roxy will catch him in the last 1/3 of the downwind leg. So Alec, everything is open. Everything is open.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the same distance we saw in the last star class match race, wasn't it? Earlier on in the regatta, and there just wasn't enough race course. Yeah. And I think the same is going to happen here. We're going to see a really exciting moment, and it's happening now, and it's happening sooner than it did in the women's race. So maybe Roxy Joni can do it. Yeah, the distance between them is dropping.
It's well timed. It's well timed. And Ludovic making one mistake. He's not on the inside. No, Roxy hits him. No. So victory
to Ludo, and victory to Switzerland. And it's now Switzerland 4, Germany 2.
And I was just going to say, Alec, Roxy Joni was trying to go on the inside. Ludovic was on the outside. Then he just managed to go in front of Roxy Joni, and Roxy didn't react. So Roxy hit his boat and losing the race that way. Wow.
Switzerland just one race away from victory in this regatta. The pressure is on the Germans, big time.
Yeah, and I have to say, Alec, before going into this race, in the international community, most of the players were seeing the Germans as the favorite players in this race. But we heard in the interviews, both with Dirk, Lacouvière and Melanie, that both teams has been practicing wild. And especially Melanie, she told us after the interview, hey, we didn't have any breaks because the team want to practice all the time. As soon as the kids and the family was gone, practice. So it was almost too much for her.
And I think some of them have packed the family and the kids away so that they can carry on at home, quietly in private, just focusing on the racing. And what both skippers have said is that they haven't had to sort of convince people to come to training, to put in the hours. They've often gone onto the server and already found that their players have been there practicing for many hours already. So that's what it means to these players. And that's what it'll mean to the Germans as well. if they don't come through, if they don't make it through to the quarterfinals to meet Great Britain in that next round.
Yeah, and also, Alec, we're actually getting a lot of questions at the moment. One of the questions is, how did the teams qualify to the Nations Cup? And the way they qualified to Nations Cup is that the nations actually signed up at World Sailing to be part of it. And they also hosted their national championship in the game. That's the way they got into it. So a team like Portugal, we have a lot of Portuguese fans with us right now also watching this. They are so sad they're not part of it. And also a team like Turkey. The reason why they're not part of it is because their nation, their federation hasn't signed in for doing it. So that's why. But Alec, we're getting ready for the next race. It's 3 versus 3, J-boat. And right now we are missing 2 players. There's a lot of 10s in there. But again, a top battle coming up. Let's just go in a mode where we can see them join in one by one.
Here we go then. Almost ready. We're waiting for the last to join. So it's 3 against 3. So we need 6. We need one more player from Switzerland to join the server. But it's in the J70. We've already seen the J70 in action. That was in a fleet of 4, though. This time we've got a fleet of 6. And who have we got again? We've got Roxy Joni in action again. I think that's 3 races in a row for the young German. Knut 34, he's had a bit of a break. And Esperanza, we haven't seen much of. But Quappy, who I think had a really tough time in one of the earlier races. I'm just looking at the list. I think it was in the laser, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Had a really tough time, although the Swiss did end up winning that race. We'll see how he goes in this one.
But Kouabi is actually the Swiss champion, just winning few meters, few points over actually a non-sailor who has become 2nd at the Swiss Championship 2020, 3rd at the Swiss Champion 2019. And he is a non-sailor, Arnold. And I know his kids are sitting, we talked about it, are sitting just behind him, looking over the shoulder. And while he's playing, he's watching this and the chat on his iPad in front of him. We know him that well. While he's playing on his computer in front of him. So he's very focused. And I'm just getting a notification. The reason why we are having some issues with the Swiss is because they are losing connection in Switzerland at the moment. They're having some issues with the app. So let's just give them some time. Let's just have a small break and then we will be back in the race. And talking about connection issues, we have all the players in now, but then we just lost actually a non-sailor. Same issues as HFS had, losing connection in the app throws him out of the game, so we're just waiting for the go signal and all the players coming in. But we have a player like this, number 5 from Germany here. We haven't seen much to him.
Let's take a look at Esperanza. He's actually Eric Hahn. And he's only 16 years old. We think he's the youngest in this regatta from Rostock in Germany. And he's, do you know, as a real sailor out on the real waters, he's actually qualified for the 420 World Championships that are due to take place in Italy. But he's a little bit concerned, a little bit, that's an understatement. He's very concerned about the obviously the coronavirus situation, that the championship may not happen, which kind of highlights what a disaster this is for these young sailors. I guess at least they get another chance. But when you've worked hard for many years to try and qualify for a top level championship and make it, to the World Championships, all the Europeans, your continental championships, and then to have them cancelled, it's really tough. But I'm sure if it is, he will come back, and we'll see how he does. Esperanza, Eric Hahn, how he does in this race, the 7th race of our regatta in the J70. It's 3 against 3, and remember, Germany has to win all 3 of the remaining races in this regatta in order to win the regatta and go through to the quarterfinals. Switzerland, if they win this, the regatta is theirs.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm very surprised about the Swiss, because it looks like they have not only been practicing racing the boats, but they have been practicing the team racing element of the boats. And I know actually a non-sailor, physicist, non-sailor, but he goes so much up in the details, so much in how these boats works, so much up in how can you help each other, tactics, strategic wise, and we love him for it in the international community. But
well, he's a physicist. Of course he goes into details.
And Alec, now he's laughing at us.
10 seconds to go. And then nicely placed, the whole fleet nicely placed across the start line. They're away, and it is a clean start, and it's a very even start. So a good beginning to this race. And now we're going to see how the strategy and tactics unfold. And I wonder what plans the 2 teams have come up with for dealing with the opposition. Yeah, so Roxy Joni, Esperanza and Knut representing Germany, and it's Quappy, actually a non-sailor, and HFS representing Switzerland.
But Germany actually did the best start of them. Reason why is because they had 2 boats here at the committee boat on the right-hand side. They're covering up, this Esperanza is covering up HFS, actually a non-sailor, and Quabi. Knut, yeah, he's covered by the Swiss sailors. And see now Roxy Joni going away from the fleet, getting ready to help them up there. Penalty to Esperanza because he crossed, no, not to Esperanza, to HFS, because he crossed up to Esperanza. He's just following them and covering them again. So we have Quabi needs to covering Knut, but those 2 here, actually a non-sailor, HFS, they have some issues with Esperanza. And then Roxy is in the lead, sneaking away. See if he can be in the lead and help his teammates if they need his help. So good tactics from the Germans from the start.
Very good tactics. See if they pay off. Roxy Joni with a slight advantage currently.
Yeah. And here we will see what we just talked about, Alec. Quabi is covering Knut. Knut, he cannot tag up towards the mark. When he's doing it, he will get a penalty. So Quabi will push him outside of the ley line. See, pushing him, and then they come up, crossing up. So Knut is pressured. See how far away they are from the mark, outside of the ley line. Same thing Esperanza is doing with actually a non-sailor. Yeah. But there's more distance, so actually a non-sailor can do whatever he wants at the moment.
Yes, he can. So I'm looking out across the course. We're now looking over to the left here at this battle on that far left side, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they come in. Actually, a non-sailor out there in sort of in the middle on his own, and I think we're going to see him. Oh, and look, that battle going on between Quappy and Knut. He's pushing him further and further out. No mercy there.
And there is no mercy, because if they're getting Knut way behind, because now see Quabi coming up towards the mark, getting a lot of wind speed in. See, Knut is actually taking the spinnaker up because they are in an angle where they can use the spinnaker. But Quabi pushing him away, doing the same. But it's 2 Germans in the lead. That's a good position to be in. So right now they are taking the lead. So actually a non-sailor needs to capture Esperanza. Knut winning that battle.
Great tactic from Knut to suddenly launch his spinnaker.
So
it really worked and brought him back into it. Yeah. Roxy Joni well ahead now. Yeah. Esperanza in second, and then it's third and fourth for Switzerland.
Yeah, but this battle is important. Right now, Germany has 8 points, Switzerland has 13 points. It's all about getting under 11 points, so 10 points or less, then you win the race. So Esperanza, actually an on-sailor, needs to actually penalize him and making him dropping down, because if Germany gets first and second, then it doesn't matter which other position they have in the race. So this battle is very, very important here.
Yeah, this battle for second and third at the moment. Oh, and it's worked so far. Good maneuver from actually a non-sailor.
And that was well timed. And see, now he's slowing down because he wants Roxy Joni to go far, far away, far, far ahead, because he is in control of Esperanza. He will penalize him again. And see, while they're doing that, rest of the fleet coming closer to them and pushing him out. There will be a second penalty already. Another penalty to Esperanza. Textbook played by actually a non-sailor. Then Kouabi comes in and can actually go up and take third. And suddenly it's Switzerland. There is in a good position. It's only HFS and Knut. That's where the battle is now. So, way to go by actually a non-sailor.
And really, really good play from actually a non-sailor. And he really is a non-sailor, as we've said earlier in the regatta. And his captain, Melanie, has vowed that she's going to get him out on the water on the Lake of Geneva to actually try the real stuff, the real sailing. And that's how a lot of people, especially youngsters, are being exposed to sailing for the first time. They're playing the e-sailing game that they've come across through friends, through brothers and sisters, and sometimes even their dads. And then they think, well, hang on a minute, I get this. I'm going to go and actually give this a go. And the next thing we know, we've got a sailor out on the water, a new sailor trying the sport for real. But right now, Roxy Joni is away, and I think the race is his. But that's not really what we're interested in. We're interested in what is happening further back.
Yeah, but see, Roxy is turning around now. He's going to attack Kouabi, because actually a non-sailor did what the Germans did in the first upwind leg in the start. He covered two boats, both Esperanza and Knut. And the Germans, if they win and don't get lost, then they will win the race. But if they're winning and getting lost, then everything is open. That's why Roxy, see, is waiting for the team. So all the boats will come together. HFS, if he gets close enough and actually a non-sailor slows down the two Germans, yeah, then we have a finish on the ending on the finish line again.
Well, the breeze got up there. It's lightning again now up at this mark. But with one leg to go, it is impossible to guess how this is going to finish and who's going to win it.
Yeah, and right now the Germans are winning it because Roxy is in the lead and the Swiss is in last position. But actually a non-sailor and Kouabi are getting ready to put in the classic wind block, wall block. See, covering the other boats, and they will slow down, make a huge block at the mark roundings to make sure that the other boats is penalized for sailing into them, because HFS is so far behind that they need to get him close enough to this battle. They don't care about Roxy. See, now they're doing it. First block.
HFS will be disappointed really by his position. He's hugely experienced, both in real sailing. I mean, he's been competing since the 70s, but also he's a finalist in the Swiss e-sailing championship this year. Yeah. So he knows what he's doing. So what is he doing so far back at the back of the fleet? Really, actually a real sailor, really kind of doing his best, attacking Knut, trying to give HFS a chance to catch up. But in the end, the race is going to be decided by HFS.
It is. And actually a non-sailor needs to penalize Knut, and Kouabi needs to penalize Esperanza. They need to do something. Don't take care of Roxy Joni up there, because if they push Knut to 6, see, that's the battle here. Push him to last position, a HFS coming up, then the Swiss might win it. But they need to also push Esperanza down.
Yeah, Kouabi is trying to force. Oh, and he got the penalty on Esperanza, so that'll slow him down, but it won't be enough. And look, HFS has moved up. So actually, a non-sailor has done exactly what he needed to do.
But Esperanza needs to drop one position. He needs to drop one position. It's too late. They have 11 points. Germany has 10 points at the moment. Another penalty to Knut. But Esperanza, Kouabi didn't attack him well. So Esperanza is securing the points for Germany. So 3-4 to Germany.
10 points to Germany.
Yeah, and 11 points to Switzerland. We can just have the confirmation here. 10 points, 1 plus 3 plus 6, that's 10. And then 9 plus 2 is 11. So, almost doing it well with Esperanza, but Kouabi, he was so pleased, so happy that he penalized him, that he forgot to continue pressing and attack him. Actually, non-sailor did what he was supposed to do, put up HFS, but they also need to attack Esperanza.
I think you're being a bit tough on Kouapi there. I think he did everything he could. Yes, another attack and another penalty on Esperanza would have made a difference and would have sealed, the whole regatta for Switzerland. But I think, he probably did everything that you really could do humanly. Anyway.
But Alec, he's the Swiss champion. I have so high expectations to him. Racing against the youngest in this regatta today, from Germany Rostock. So there's a huge difference in it. But yeah, the youth was going in to win it. But this is just surviving one match point for the German. It's still a match point for the Swiss. And now we're going into an F50. And there the German lost it because they couldn't figure out how to team race it last time. And this time it's 2 versus 2 in the F50.
It is 2 versus 2 in the F50. So we're going to see maybe 2 separate match races. Or maybe one's going to try and get ahead and try and hold back the other 2. We've seen that happen in the past.
Let's go into the game. They're almost ready to do the next race. And I can say to you, it's Ludovic from Switzerland, Stripes from Switzerland against Johannes Barnsen and La Couviat, the 2 German champions in e-sailing over the 2 last year. So it's going to be very close. And Alec, race number 8, 2 versus 2. EF50, Sail GP, speed, but team race. So let's see how it's going.
It's match point to Switzerland. Can Germany even things out and bring it to 4-4? 50 seconds to go. Ages yet in the F50. Such a fast boat. A foiling boat with a wing sail and used in Sail GP. And we enjoyed a thrilling Sail GP season in e-sailing this year, thankfully, because we missed out, of course, on the real life stuff because of the pandemic. But right now, things are beginning to hot up here in the start box now. 20 seconds to go, and we've got. Let's have a look. Who are these 2 closest to us now?
We can't see yet, but I think it's Johannes Barnsen and Ludovic. It looks like their aggressive way to do it, and Ludovic, he's on the inside, controlling Johannes Barnsen, but they need to take care of that starting line. They slowed down. A penalty to Ludovic and La Couviat for rounding the mark first. So Ludovic will have the penalty until La Couviat is in front of him, and there the start goes.
Yeah,
whoa.
La Couviat went back, started again, and so could accelerate away faster than Ludovic. And Ludovic, well, in the F50, I know there's still the whole race ahead of us, but it's a long, long way back for Ludo. So out in front, Johannes with a good start, Stripes with a reasonably good start and in second place. And then here's La Couviat, who's 100 meters now ahead of Ludo at the back of the fleet.
Yeah, but remember, this race, there's a penalty to La Couviat. Teamwork by Stripes. Right now, the Germans are behind because they are in the lead and in last. And there's 4 boats, so it can be 5-5 and then it's the winning boat losing the race.
The German captain picks up 2 penalties in the first 2 legs of this EF50 race. Incredible.
Just saying about being nervous, we talked about in the start, there's so much tense. Stripes continue his way to the right hand side. We saw that tactics yesterday where he's coming in, because when they tack to the left hand side, they have to ride away. So he's covering up La Couvillard. But remember, every time Stripes making a penalty, he tried to sail in front of La Couvillard. You can't do that in the EF50. You need to have a steady course, and that's why he got it. So unforced penalty by him. So right now it looks like the Swiss are losing it, because, penalty also to Ludovic in the battle against Johannes Barnsen.
Oh, the Germans are fighting back. The Swiss came out of the blocks really aggressive. They caught the Germans on the hop, but now Germany are fighting back, and they're returning the aggression with equal aggression.
Yeah, and see here, if La Couvillard slows down now, he didn't do it, then he could actually force a penalty maybe to Ludovic. That's also part of the tactics. If you slow down your boat, and instead of, he's getting in a position where Ludovic can penalize him in the mark rounding. See, they're coming close here. He has to go the long way around, making Stripes coming back in the race, getting closer to no, Stripes also going the long way. So it's all up to Ludovic now.
Really close here as they come. Oh, and he flicks a penalty onto Ludo. So Ludovic Ziegfeld, who has come back, done really well to get back into this, has picked up a penalty, and it's now Switzerland in 3rd and 4th. And the Germans are moving away at the front.
I would like to be in the German group right now when that penalty came in. I know they are in a team chat. That must have been shouted like this, yeah! Because that penalty is going to seal 4-4 if they're not doing any mistakes upwind or hitting the gate mark. Because coming back from this is very, very hard from Team Switzerland.
How did they shout, Thomas?
They're almost Vikings. They are Germans. So, but that's almost like that. Almost like that.
Yeah, they're out in front. It's 1st and 2nd for Germany, but Ludovic is closing the gap on the 2nd place boat.
Yeah, and actually it's La Couvillard who gets confused and attacks Stripes and covering him, and that makes Ludovic coming closer. Now it's Stripes coming closer. Remember, every time you attack in the boat, you lose 11 knots in speed. See here, 27, attack coming in, 16, and then it takes 11 seconds to hit maximum speed. But nice covering by La Couvillard. But Ludovic getting close to them, so La Couvillard is almost losing the race for them now.
2 more legs to go. And I think, Stripes is getting really close to La Couvillard.
Oh, Germany in a good position. Germany in a very good position. Both of them inside of the ley line, Alec. They are going to round that mark rounding without a slowdown, where Ludovic, he needs to do a double tack for it. And La Couvillard just slows down his boat to slow down Stripes. See, he did it. So what a teamwork by the Germans there.
Efficient teamwork, and they now speed away to that reach mark, and there's nothing, I don't think, that the Swiss can do now.
Only a disconnection can win the race, but we don't want to
we don't want to see that. No.
We don't want
it can happen, but we don't want to see that, because this was a really, really brave, clever fight from the Germans, who I think was stunned at first by the Swiss aggression. But in the end, they steadied themselves, they gathered their nerves, they fought together and came out in front. Well done, Johannes. Well done, La Couvillard. They have squared the regatta. It's gone right down to the wire, just like last night. It's Switzerland 4, Germany 4.
And Alec, that was maybe one of the most, I don't use the word that I'm going to, but a very close race, very well played. I have to say, very good teamwork and tactics from the German sides. And I can understand if they're shouting a lot in their team group, because now it's 4-4. Now it's up to who's best racing the Nacra boat.
Clinical performance. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's football or e-sailing, you can never write off the Germans. They will always take you right to the end. And this last race is the equivalent of our penalty shootout.
Yeah, and let's go into format and see who they're going to meet. The winner is going to meet in the quarterfinals.
Whoever wins this final race of the regatta will go through to meet Great Britain in the quarterfinal.
And Great Britain actually qualified seeded second, and they were very close to getting seeding first. I remember that was a penalty in the last downwind, making the difference in between Spain and Great Britain. And they have some really good sailors on the British team, but seeing those two teams here tonight fighting it out, battling it out, I have to say Great Britain needs to go in training camp to follow that high quality. Alec, all sailors are in there. Now we cross the fingers for both teams to have a very good race. Last race in the NACRA 17, 10 versus 10. Yesterday we saw the Swedish won over Ireland because of a disconnection. A player who had 10 position lost connection just around the last top mark, and that was giving the points for Sweden.
Well, dear viewers, if this is your first time watching this Nations Cup, I can tell you that you're going to need to hold on to the sofa, because this is going to be absolutely bonkers, as we say in English, completely crazy. We've got 20 boats. It's the NACRA 17, such a fast foiling boat. It's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. And I don't think we'll know what on earth has happened until our race officer can give us the score right at the end.
No.
But who knows? Let's see if one team does manage to dominate over the other. 10 seconds to go. Germany against Switzerland. This will decide the regatta. This will decide who goes through to the quarterfinal.
Oh, clean start.
Penalties. Well, there's a few penalties there on the start, but they're away, and it's going to be fast as Susie restarts, goes back, starts again. She was over early, and off they go. She heads towards the right.
Yeah, I mean, Alec, I need to go up to a view so we can see most of the players here from a chopper. See how they're splitting up. Huge fleet. Melanie, the Black Widow, she got that name for penalizing two boats at the same time in a maneuvering in the NACRA. Then opposite side, let's go over there. We have Kouabi of Switzerland, the Swiss champion. He's covered by Team Feder, but this is a teamwork. They need to talk together. But right now it looks quite mixed. I can't see who's in the lead at the moment, but what a race coming up.
No, it's too close at the moment. It's too early as well. Penalty somewhere in the middle of the fleet for Yin Yang, and you can see what a penalty does to your position. Yin Yang's just it's dropping down. He goes.
Flying
Wow.
Pamino also with a penalty, but Susie still in the lead now, taking over Celestian Storm. Oosh, this is going to be very, very close again. Melanie in a good position, but see, the wind is shifting, but still coming from the right-hand side. But Johannes Barnsen in the lead. Secret Sailing, Knut is with him. Roxy Yoni, 4 top Germans in the lead. But see who's sneaking up, helping Melanie. Actually a non-sailor. He's coming over here in second position.
Really mixed the positions at the moment, and remember, we add up the positions of all the players, and the ones with the lowest total number will win this race and therefore the regatta. So they are rounding this top mark now.
Penalty.
So far, just the one penalty for Moonflower, the oldest sailor in this regatta.
And Kouabi has a very important role here. Behind him, there's 5 Germans. So Kouabi needs to keep that position. See, 5 Germans. Oh, Moonflower gets a penalty. Kouabi going away. So it's all about see if they can make these 5 Germans stay behind, push them further behind. But right now, it's 4 Swiss players in the last position.
And is it 4 German players at the front? I think
4
it might
Germans
be.
in the front. They are splitting up to things. But then we have the whole Swiss team almost. Only 2 Germans mixing in there, but 4 Swiss in the lead, in the behind. They need to do something, the leading Swiss boats, to slow down this race and help their teammates coming back in it.
Well, last night it was Ireland against Sweden, and the Swedes came back from the same desperate position the Germans were in a few races ago, and they were also the lower ranked team, and they came back to win and go through to the quarterfinals. Is this what we are watching now? Is this the comeback from Germany that we think it is? Oh, there's not much time left to find out.
No, but I just say that Mark Rounding was giving 3 penalties to Germany, putting 2 of the boats that was in the middle down in 17 and 18. See Susie and Tim also dropping down now. So the Swiss are coming from forward to the fleet now. So it's going to be very close, Alec. Let's go to the opposite side. Let's go to the right-hand side. It's going to be crazy race, a penalty to Knut. He got it for sailing in front of Johannes Barnsen. So the Germans penalizing each other in the front at the moment.
I think we were discussing, after the first race, which was similar to this, with all 20 sailors taking part, we discussed what the tactics and strategy might be. And I think in this, it's literally, they've just said, just try and get as far up the fleet as possible. And that's exactly what the Germans have done. They've dominated this race from the front, from the start, and they are still in that position. The leading 3 huge names in Germany sailing. There's Johannes, there's Roxy Joni, there's Knut. We've got another German in 4th as well. Melanie doing well.
Yeah.
Actually, Melanie in 4th place, and actually another sailor. Actually,
3 penalties to Germany, Alec. This can change everything. Secret Sailing getting 1, and then we have 2 penalties here. Tim and Susie. And Yin Yang can penalize them again. No. It's too polite. HFS getting it. Guys, it's e-sailing. You need to attack. Sorry to say it that way, but you need to attack.
With the Germans dominant at the front and heading towards the finish line, the leading Germans are finishing. The Swiss have just got to attack. They've got to attack, attack, attack. Otherwise, this is going to be Germany's race and Germany's regatta.
Yeah, so they need to penalize some of the German boats behind. Right now, it doesn't look like attack. There's a small one up here, but it's too late. Pushing La Couffier, losing 1 spot.
Couffier escapes and crosses the line, escapes the Swiss skipper. The 2 skippers battling it all the way to the finish.
It's a hard one to call, Alec. But I have to say, it looks a little bit golden for us at the moment, for Germany. And it was there we have a Swiss coming in last. So, to help our dear race officers out there, Johannes Barnes in Germany, Roxy Joni, Knut in 1st, 2nd and 3rd, La Couvia in 5th. Then we have a pack of Swiss, 4th, 6th, 7, 8, Esperanza, Secret Sailing, 9 and 10, Coabi 11, 2 Germans, Swiss, a German, 2 Swiss. I'm ready to call it. But we are waiting for confirmation for this race. There we go. And we have a confirmation. One team got 98, the other one got 112.
We just went to find out which way round it was. We think we know. I think it's fairly clear. Germany have won the last race, and with it, they have sealed the regatta. Goodness gracious, they have come back from 4-2 down to win this regatta 5-4. Congratulations, Germany, and huge commiserations to Switzerland.
Alec, that was
three first round regattas, 2 decided in the very last race.
Yeah.
When we looked at the format originally, we never thought it would actually go that close, did we?
So we will see Germany go into the quarterfinals against Great Britain. But I have to fancy it. Wow, what a great battle today. We had everything in the battle today. Everything. But this will also tell the next teams we are going to see guys, you need to practice that NACRA 17. You need to have a good go on it, or else you are doomed, because right now they're following each other.
The NACRA 17 is the e-sailing equivalent, the Nations Cup equivalent of the penalty shootout. You need to get on that boat, folks, especially for the quarterfinal between Great Britain and Germany.
But congratulations to Germany. Viel Glück für die deutsche Mannschaft. So we're going into the next round with them. All of you, hope you enjoyed the show. This is Thomas Bjørn Luthi.
And me, Alec Wilkinson from London. It's good night.
Yeah, good night and have a good evening.